See, this is the beauty of religious science. This is the beauty of what we teach, is to say, okay, this has happened. I can't do anything about what has happened. The love that we are that is waiting to become the ultimate realization. It's not going to force itself on us because it already is us. All we have to do is wake up to it. And the idea is not only to wake up to it, but to understand that the great secret of being is the concept of unity, the concept of oneness, the concept of love and action, the concept of unlimited possibility, as you, as me. There is a hidden teaching that has been going around for years. And the wonderful thing about religious science is we reveal the secret. It's an open secret. We're one. It's an open secret. As we think, we become. It's an open secret that there's a law backing up our next idea. Therefore, we should pay attention to the next idea we believe in, because it is a state of consciousness that is going to produce something. And if we've been producing what we don't want, we can change consciousness and be what we do want before the what we do want shows up for the world to see it. That way we don't have to blame our life on anyone, keep anything on our list so we have a reason to be upset, or anything else we do to get in the way of what we say we want. Everyone say with me, we've been affirming this since I started this ministry 37 years ago. All my dreams are waiting for me to come true. Say it. Now, what are you ready to come true to today? What are you really ready to come true to today? If you know it's good enough to be true and it's really everything you are you going to act as if it is, or act as if you're going to get to it sometime? Act as if it is, and it shall be. From time to time, a teacher would appear in our history, and they would start talking about oneness. A lot of times these teachers would produce students, and the students would start paying attention to what the teacher was teaching, and then they would try to practice it, and time would go by, and in a very short period of time, when the teacher was no longer there, they started worshiping the teacher instead of following the teaching. Never make the teacher more important than the teaching. This is the great wisdom of the age. Never make the symbol more important than what it symbolizes. Never make the book more important than what it contains. There is no teaching on this planet that's worth your time unless it's leading you to you. And when you find it, you're going to find it in a way no one else on the planet has found it. Why? Because no one else has ever been you, ever thought like you, ever had your talent, your ability, your concept. In all of creation, God only made one you. How important is that? How wonderful is that? See, when it made you, it broke the mold. And what made you out of itself? You did. The truth of you did. The power of you did. The love of you did. The intelligence of the universe, which is everything you are, did it. And you appeared. Our challenge is to wake up to what we are. We had a wonderful song we used to sing in the 60s. You know, I am discovering who I am. I find importance in who I am. I love the truth of who I am. I don't base who I am on what I think you are. I base it on what I know I am. And if I know I am it, I must know you are it, whether you know you're it or not. And I'm not going to wait for you to know it before I recognize it in you, or in the world, or in everything around me. That way I'm free. I'm honoring the best of myself. Since the mid-19th century, this country has developed a consciousness that has evolved as the New Thought movement. We have always been, it was William James that pointed out that we, and in New Thought, which he called the healthy-minded religion, he said we're probably the most American of all religions on this planet. because we have expressed the best of self. And the wonderful thing about it is the fact that we drew this information from the East and from the clear thinkers of the West, from Aristotle to Lao Tse. Here it was. There's one life. It's God. It's your life. It's waiting for your next idea to become your experience. Good. See, the challenge is not to beg something up in the sky to change its mind about you, but to recognize that the greatness of this universe is everything you are. And if you want things to change in your life, health change, happiness change, prosperity change, be the change. The universe can't say no, so be the change. It says yes to consciousness, be the change. Every human being has direct access to this source of being because we are this source of being. The master teacher 2,000 years ago said, "What I have done, ye shall do, and greater things." He realized once one person proves something, they just proved everybody can prove it. So my challenge to you today in this wonderful consciousness of unlimited change, we find ourselves saying, okay, what is my decision today? A lot of people consider it revolutionary thinking. These ideas have been imparted to us from the wisdom of the age. It has come down to you and me in the now, and as it has in every generation and every aspect of consciousness, it has waited for the decision to either know about it or know as it knows. How many know people who know about a lot of stuff, but they don't know as it knows? They just know about it. I was sharing with the class the other night, we used to have a member here who would buy every book we have in our bookstore and go home and sleep on it. Put it under his pillow. I was going to absorb it. I got news for you. Their life looks just like it did 30 years ago. Now, if they're happy with it, hey, that's great. But if they wanted change and they're frustrated because it didn't happen because all they did was think about it instead of be what they were thinking about. From the early days, we have received this information. Here's the first one. You ready? Number one. Our divine nature is the seed of perfection within. Everyone say that. My divine nature is the seed of perfection within. Now let's look at this metaphysically. Everything you think about is going to become form perfectly. You can be perfectly happy, perfectly unhappy. Okay? Everyone say, perfection doesn't care what I do with it. Number two, as we claim our good, our belief changes. It changes from a doomed sinner, doomed to suffer, to a recognition of our divine heritage. We move from the consciousness, I'm a doomed sinner, to a consciousness of I am divine heritage. I am divine heritage. Not I receive divine heritage. I am divine heritage. You see the difference? If you think you're here to suffer, guess what? If you think there's something up in the sky punishing you, guess what? See? You see, this is why every religion and every denomination and every thing in this world, there's, 2027 Christian denominations, every single one of them prove what they believe. Every one of them. And religious scientists know why. Because it's done unto you as you believe. Whatever you believe God is, that's the way it's going to act in relationship to you. Why? Because, well, here it is. What do you want me to become today? A punishing boss, sitting up in the sky, seeing if I follow the rules and regulations. Ernest Holmes said, what's right for you, do it. What's wrong, don't. You have sense enough to know what that is. If what you're thinking is not producing good, think something else. Number 3, we have a right to health, peace, and happiness. Everyone say, I have the right to health, peace, and happiness. So you have a right to it. Why? Because you already are it. Don't treat for love, you are love. Treat to let more out. If you let more out, guess what happens? Everyone say, what I give multiplies and returns to me, no matter what I give. See, this is the real meaning of tithing. The real meaning of tithing is, metaphysically, is give 10% of your day to God. To give 10% of your day to meditation, to contemplation, to spending 2 hours looking at a lotus. And letting it teach you something. Somebody said, when something negative happened, well, it must be God's will. Baloney. The only will God has for any of us is it's done unto us as we believe. The only will it has for us is the desire within, the wonderful, beautiful, infinite desire. This is the divine urge. It comes forth. There's nothing in the universe here to punish anything or anyone. Dr. Ernest Holmes said, I daily thank God that the God most people believe in isn't. It would be an absolute insanity if it was. But maybe that God that Jesus understood and Lao Tse understood and Gautama Buddha understood, maybe this principle, no matter what you call it, because this thing that we're part of, this divine intelligence in the universe, doesn't have an ego problem. It doesn't care what you call it, and it doesn't care where you spend an hour on Sunday. What it does care about is your next idea, your next concept believed in. There's lots of concepts out there, but it all comes from one thing. The New Thought organizations throughout the last century and going back to Emerson have all allowed themselves to begin to explore an influence coming from the clearest minds of the age. Not from dogma, creed, and ceremony, not from ritual, not from all of this stuff that is out here. It comes from what? The greatest thinkers who ever lived, the clearest thinkers who ever lived. And they all said to us very clearly, you are an individualization of the universe. Honor that, be that in action, and honor it in everyone. What do you think namaste means? Namaste, the God in me greets the God in you. The love in me greets the love in you. The individualization in me greets the individualization in you. What I know is true of me, I know is true of you. This is beauty and order within coming forth. Think about that for a minute. Say it. Beauty and order within coming forth. That's your concern. Not that somebody else doesn't know that. The challenge is, do you know it? Are you letting yourself be it? Through the practice of the science of mind, anyone can learn to pray effectively. This is what we teach. We teach what the great have taught, how to pray effectively. Pray without ceasing, we're told. And you have to understand, we practice in religious science what we call spiritual mind treatment. If you take the concept of treatment, you will realize that every single person on this planet is practicing treatment. Most are practicing world mind treatment. We practice spiritual mind treatment. Be not conformed to the world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That teaching is 2,000 years old in the Christian community. Listen to it again. Say it with me. Be not conformed to the world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And your transformation in you as you coming forth, as your individual experience, will happen in a way it has never happened before in the history of the universe. Because you are an individual thing in the mind of God, and that thing is beautiful. And that thing is wonderful. Our challenge every Sunday, whether I'm speaking, Reverend Lacey speaking, Dr. Cynthia speaking, Reverend Dart, doesn't matter who's up here. We're here to do one thing. We're here to celebrate a healing consciousness. We're having a healing consciousness this morning, aren't we? And when you're part of that healing consciousness, your challenge is to look higher than you look before you walk through these doors. This is what I want every week. I treat every Sunday, whether I'm speaking or one of our other ministers is speaking here, and know that everybody who's here is hearing something that will allow them to move forth into the week and have a better life than they would have had if they hadn't been here. Not that we're doing anything to you, but we're doing what? We're affirming the beautiful, and we're showing you how to live with it when it shows up. A healing consciousness will be developed as the student understands something. As the student, and we're all students, as we understand this open secret, because it's not a secret. And the secret is this, say it with me. There is a power and a presence for good in the universe, and everyone can use it in their own individual way. There's a power for good in the universe, and everyone can use it in their own individual way. Know that and use it for the beautiful, my dear friends. I love you, and I thank you for being here so that I can give this lesson and learn something myself. It is a beautiful thing to be you. Know that I know this, that Dr. Cynthia knows this, that Reverend Barbara knows this, that Reverend Lacey knows this, that all of our ministers and practitioners, our wonderful Reverend Mary Jo and our wonderful practitioners Cher, and our other practitioners that are here, we are here and you are in our treatment all the time. If anything in your life needs to straighten out, just stop for a moment and say, I accept the treatment that all these people at this center are giving me today. And let go and let the beautiful be your way. Namaste. Good.